You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening, welcome to Outside the Box on the first day of Ragnarok. We take this puppy down now, and, as per usual, the beautiful things show up exactly when they're supposed to. Thanks for tuning in to your table here at Outside the Box, criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, yapping as usual. For those that do want to call in, imagine that, I actually remembered at the start of the show for a change. Nice. Anyway, you can call in at 661-472401, and of course you can call in via Skype on the Blog Talk page you may be listening on, or you can take the shortcut by putting BTR Listener 029 into the search contacts on your Skype. Hit search, and when it pops up, just right-click it, hit call. That'll bring you directly to the board. Once at the board, all you have to do then is hit 1 on the dial pad on your phone, or open up the dial pad on Skype and hit 1 there. And don't worry, for all the newbies to Skype, you'll figure it. Okay, it's quite easy. Just hit the plus sign. You'll get it. Or you might be lucky and have an updated version, and the keypad's right there. You just click on that, and it opens up for you as well. Where to begin? Well, I'll tell you, Maria did an astounding job putting one hell of a drum beat and rhythmic pattern to Babylon Has Fallen. The actual, it's not an, I just call it a system slayer is all it is. We'll call it a document, essay, article, whatever you want to, call it. Doesn't matter to me. It's just a pure, right in your face, get the job done, go ahead and try to prove this wrong truth. And that goes for any silly free men on the land or any silly sovereigns or anybody still concocting fear porn, thinking that somehow their protests and legislation and all the rest of it are going to actually make a hill of beans of difference. Sorry, until your soul is free, you are nothing but a slave, and you will get shit and pissed on from great heights, and you will deserve it. But that's what ignorance gets you, and what we're here to do is to remove that ignorance once and for all. Humanity is shifting. So Maria, once again, an astounding job. I would ask people to get that little video clip viral, because in 7 minutes and 7 seconds, it nails every off and shut. And I do urge people to post it on police Facebook pages, newspapers around the world, courts. I don't care. Post it everywhere. Because you see, upon sending, the contract is sealed. And for those that know who they are, that do not have a, quote, legal name, unquote, and know exactly what I say when I say that, you are sending the most potent of contracts to wherever you send them, because it is going with full force and effect of your causal nature to the degree that you can accept responsibility for self. I'm wondering how Pope Frankie will appreciate the video. I had to laugh, and I will open up the page because I just was doing a quick scan of the garbage can, also known as Before It's News bin, to see what kind of effect we're having. And lo and behold, a dear little shill man, Kevin Annette, is apparently in hiding. Well, that's what happens when you have a legal name, and I don't care if you're a shill or not. You see, because once the veil is down, which it is, you are completely vulnerable to your masters and those you serve of the dark principalities. Something we choose not to do here, and are doing our utmost to awaken humanity to that most dangerous of games that will only cost you your soul via your ignorance. So please, keep fighting the truth. Please, beat us up. Come at us with all manner of left-brain monkey chatter gibberish to defend a position from a completely programmed illusion that you have been part of since the minute you popped out of Mama's vagina. Speaking of which, of course, today is, well, what they like to deem Mother's Day, which for me it's modus operandi of God every day. I don't need a particular title or date to attest to the truth. And the simple fact is you are all mothers, modus operandi gods. And you're also operating through the divine feminine father, which is the heart of God. Yeah, you see, they got it all backwards here. The mother is the modus operandi, or the intent masculine. The father is the heart source, negative divine feminine, which is God's source itself, feminine. So there you go. A little note there too. Apparently the pastors down in the States are really pushing this whole idea of it's okay to take the RFID chip, to take the mark of the beast. Well, what else did you expect from these used car demonic sales? You know, the proof is in the pudding, boys and girls, and these monkeys are having to really ramp up their own idiocy to fully expose themselves. And I'm sure there might be the odd Christian or two out there listening to a pastor that says it's okay to take the mark of the beast, and they might actually question it at this point. And if they don't, well, your soul's done for anyway. There's nothing I or anyone else can do for you. Such is the nature of this game. You are here to save yourself, something apparently you of the Christian stripe missed in the true teachings of what the Jesus guy that you all love to rant and rave about so much was telling you. You see, that's the irony, the disgusting irony, in that all of these churches, all of these mosques and synagogues have been teaching you exactly the opposite of what all the great teachers taught you, including, you know, people like Hare Krishna that were around 10,000 years before this Jesus boy shows up. And if you had a close look at all of these stories, you will see that these great teachers were actually truth rebels of the most extraordinary level. They were telling you to stay away from the banks, the temples, the money lenders, to turn over their tables of Babylon. They were the ones that never set foot in a church and told you exclusively to never do such a thing. These are the ones that the Pharisees you so aptly worship at all levels of your ignorance and sheer stupidity and hatred of self. These very buildings are the ones that people like Jesus and all the rest of them, Muhammad, told you to stay away from. These are the Pharisees they warned you of, the same Pharisees that shook in terror when the ground shook and the temples were broken under their feet. It's all an allegory. But it's all truth. But you got to have the eyes to see it. And none of your emotional namby-pamby, crybaby, diaper-wearing tactics of fighting the truth will save you. Please save the diapers that you are wearing, because very soon you are going to shit yourself in them. And hopefully it will be enough shit to wake you up and rise you to a high enough ground where you will be able to actually see above your own ignorance. To be able to see above the quagmire of shit that is built up around you, of your own doing, of your own creating, of your own betrayals, of your own treasonous nature against yourself and Creator. And you can put Creator into whatever form you wish. I simply know it to be self, and all as one, one as all. I am just merely accepting the responsibility of my point of you within the all mind that says enough of the bullshit, enough of the nonsense, enough of the needing to justify legal nonsense with more legal nonsense that keeps you spinning in a matrix, completely unaware of the reality of things around you. It's a very simple game. It is so simple that you will refuse to accept it. Because, geez, Kate, it can't be that easy. Well, as a matter of fact, dopey, it sure is. And that's the joke on you. I don't know about you, but a joke with a punchline typically doesn't have to go into this long diatribe of explaining the joke where the truth of the joke is self-evident. That's why they call it a punchline. And your punchline is coming up. You might not like the punchline, though, because it will probably destroy your soul. Well, it ain't yours anyway. You gave it up to the dark. You walk around with a mark of the beast called legal name and any agreement thereof. And I'm not talking pieces of paper here. I'm talking about just the ability to change your mind and realizing and seeing the legal name for what it is, the armor trap soul contract. And again, I say, if you're not interested in saving yourself, well, perhaps you might put 5 minutes thought into, your family, your friends, your children, all of those you claim to love. They're the same ones like my own family and friends that thought it was pretty cool just to claw up my back, to take from me what they could. I would have given it willingly, now I was dead. I've grown weary of those that just like climbing up others' backs to steal what they can in the physical nature. And of course, once caught, they're very quick to run away and of course cry foul. That's normal. You see, because most people on this planet cannot see the blessings because of the curse they live. If you're not living in truth, then that just makes you a Pharisee, a scribe, and you might as well call yourself a lawyer, liar, judge. So do not point fingers at others that you claim to be doing wrong, when you yourself are standing in the quagmire of pure, adulterous truth, betrayal, lechery, licentiousness, by walking around using the government-issued identification, thinking that it is you. For those of us that know it isn't, well, free and clear. And I don't care if you still have paper with that on it, doesn't matter. What does matter is the change of heart and the change of mind. If you can't change those, well, you're kind of screwed anyway, huh? And if you're not aware enough to understand this, well, not going to be a big loss to consciousness and reality anyway, now are you? It's entirely up to you. If but one shall awaken, and you are the one. If you can't handle the truth, well then, sorry, enjoy your last days. Excuse me. For those that worship and serve the beast at all levels, well, enjoy your last days too, because you will soon be non-existent, in the most literal of senses. You see, like any bad thought that we would have in our mind, it's simply easy to eradicate that, never to allow that to enter your reality again. Because it most certainly is not something I would do, and I know many of you, something you would not do either. So the thing that I would not do, I just simply purge. And I give it back to those that would do it. And if that's what you wish, then you wish upon your others that which you have wished upon yourself, and vice versa. So enjoy the loss that you have cast, not only for my possessions, if you will, for my realities that you so greedily and lustfully lick your chop for. Have at her, Roman soldiers, because you're going the way of the Pharisees and the scribes and the lawyers and the judges and all the rest of the filth that inhabits this planet in a dark, dark way. That includes the queens and the kings and the governments and the police agents. Of course, the werewolves, they go right along first with their masters, the vampires that rule the governments and the kings and the queens. Remember, the governments and the courts are only the sandwich filler to give you the illusion that there is somehow a power there. They're just used to keep the facade going, where the werewolves, known as cops, and for those, I urge any shill, paid shill that is tuned in here right now, you better have a very good look in your mirror, my friend, because your soul is on the block here. So whether you've sold it for $50 or $200 or $1,000 an hour, that's entirely up to you, because that's telling reality and consciousness that that's all you think your soul is worth. So, well, time to cash in, isn't it? We've had too many victories to look the other way now. And for those still needing a satiated ego diaper change, please feel free to tune in here at any given time, where we have shared constantly, and I've done it myself too many times, I've lost count. But it's not relevant that I do it because, hey, I host this thing. Who the hell would believe someone that would host a radio show? I mean, really? Do you believe Alex Jones? Do you believe any of these other shillsters that are there just to keep your mind occupied, keep you in anger, keep you in fear, keep you in the illusion, thinking that somehow anything in this system is real? Sorry, we don't deal that here. And that being said, I'm going to bring Richard in here because we're going to wide open this thing tonight. And we're going to drive this point home because time is short, boys and girls. We just got that real strong gut feeling today. I don't know about you guys, but I sure as hell did. And a little note, too, I had received an email from, Harris, something or other. Anyway, if you're going to email me, please include an email that I can respond to. When I hit reply, it's actually one that's functioning. Because I really hate wasting time answering an email for, about 15, 20 minutes, putting thought and care into it, only to have an email address absolutely defunct. So thank you for wasting not only my time, but your own. But it doesn't matter. The contract went out, so whether you're aware of it or not, it's already sealed. There you go. Hey, Richard, how are you doing, my friend? Great to have you.
Hey, Kate. I was communicating with you earlier today. I got a pure download while I was meditating, and I had to record it because it was so strong that I didn't want to lose it. So I'm sorry for not being live about it, but it was only a few hours ago, and I just think I'll play it for you, okay? So I got it right. And
okay, now just make sure, just make sure it's close enough to the phone. Double check with me to make sure the levels are good here, because I can't adjust your level on this end. Okay, so give it a quick test so I can make sure.
Okay.
Actually, if you sent me the file, I could have uploaded it.
Okay. Here's how I see it. Okay. There's a quote by Mayor and Michelle Rothschild in the Victorian age where he said, give me control of the nation's currency, and I care not who makes its laws. Okay, and my pursuit of the truth, I looked at that, and I realized that it was all about the money. And we've heard that many, many times. Yeah, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. And so we got this aha moment, right? Okay. All right, now look at this. You're looking left on that, okay? That's what you see. You see the negative, right? Okay. You see the written text of this quote, and the byproduct of that quote is the currency, the money. All right? Now, look back to the right, and what you see is the man. In this case, Mayor and Michelle Rothschild. Right? But don't get caught so much on that particular male figure. All right? Because what you're actually seeing is a snapshot of reality. All right? What we are seeing is the man. It's like in The Wizard of Oz. When they pulled back the curtain, there was a man sitting on a chair. He was smiling at them. He was kind of chuckling a little bit, right? So what the point of it is that we all, in this world, we tend to look toward the left in the egoic mind from the negative. We're in the data stream, and we're coming up behind the creator, and we're looking at the creation, okay, that which he has shunned, okay. So we see the details of that. We see the money, we see the written text, we see that around us, and we tend to lean left because we're looking with our eyes at that which has already been created. Okay? Now, look back toward the right, and you see, in this case, the man, the image, the being, right? That from which it came from. It was thought of as the mind. It was corresponded in his thoughts, and it was vibrated through his spoken verbalization, okay, and then it created a polarity. In other words, the sentence, and then the cause and effect. The rhythm of that created the cause and effect, which was the money, and then it generated this society, okay, that we have. Okay, so there you go. There's the 7 poles, right? And we're riding on this intertube behind the wake of the Creator, which in this case is the sun. Okay, the star in front of us, that's God. All right? And then that being within the sun is producing this data stream of information. Right? And as we go around the vortex of the galaxy, that's the rim of the tube we're riding on. Okay? As we enter into the black hole of the abyss, right? Now think about that. It seems like we're sitting still because time just goes on and on. But we are moving at a great rate of speed, okay? Now, when you get caught up in your details, behind you are the system that is eating away at the creation, cleaning up the data stream, erasing it, putting it back into the void, so to speak. And if you think about the void, the magnetic end of it, that is darkness. And darkness is where all things balance out. It is calm, serene heartbeat, like the womb. See, that's mama, right? And the light is papa. That's daddy. Right? Daddy creates the light, right? The two forces, the magnetic and electric, create the light. But ultimately, the light is an aberration. So everything must re-enter as it dissolves, like a shooting star. It collapses, right? And we all go back into the void, the black hole, the darkness, where we begin to then steady out. And then that which has been created is neutralized, only to start again. Right? So think of yourself right now as a kid on an inner tube, and mama and papa are in the boat, and they're pulling us behind them, right? And we're having fun. You know, have some fun. I mean, if you're going to be alive, have some fun. And know that this goes on forever. And every time one life ends, there's a phoenix arise from the ashes, and you are reborn.
Okay, how's that?
Well, I caught the gist of most of it. It was a bit hard to hear on this end, but yeah, I mean, I can go into lots of points on that. You know, I get where you're coming from, so I'd have to re-listen to it a few times just to get an anagogic on it. But yeah, again, this is you know, see where I am, the sun that you speak of is the effect of, which is not the source of it. Everything in the physical is effect. Right? It is already created. That's the whole thing about in the beginning God created, right? Which is past tense. So all things physical are all things past. So for me, I've taken a step completely back from anything with regards to physical as being cause over me, because that's backwards. You know. So anyway, that's just my opinion on it. And for me, the whole idea that something outside of me can be deemed God is just I can't go there. It doesn't compute, because that stays right in line with everything that you know, the churches and the governments want us all to believe, that God is somehow outside of us. And this goes back to the ancient Egyptians as well, in the worship of Ra, the sun god, which again is worshiping a physical effect. And if you go back to Robert Morningsky's work, very, very clear who the Ra's shields and the Ra-Ka pharaohs are. So I most certainly, now you opened up with the whole Rothschild thing. That's kind of where I thought you were going. But again, you know, you're dealing with a bunch of tricksters, like us and so forth, that have been hell-bent on controlling this reality by the mere worship of things outside of ourselves. So if anything falls in line with what is deemed mainstream normal, I am very, very quickly going to get the radar up and go, no, thanks, I'm good, but thanks anyway. I've been there, I've played that. But again, I want to have a listen to it again from a more more anagogic stance, but I think everyone's pretty clear on my position on this. Anything external, physical, are all things at effect, not cause. They are the result of cause, not the nature of it. We are the nature of the game. We are the cause. And that's exactly how we've been ruled with regards to the name, because all it takes to get a God's power is for that God to say, oh, okay, you can have my power. I mean, that's exactly what we've been dealing with for countless millennia. So maybe I'll get your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the language kind of fails us, you know. I mean, we don't have a good way of describing it. If we had, you know, I'd like a better word for God. I really would. But the thing is that the way I see it, when I go into deep meditation and when I open up into that spirit world, I feel that I have parents, you know, that the home star has a mother and a father, you know, that we come from that and we are to be like them, you know, and what they do is they pull us in their wake and they feed us data, and they do that through a series of imagery. And the way they talk to me, you know, as we become more like our parents, is it talks to me as though the data stream is you know, day by day, step by step, you know, rung by rung. Now, as far as, you know, the thing about the Rothschilds, that's like an image. You know, every aspect of our life is an image. Now, granted, you know, there's some nasty things that go on in this world. We get beat up, and no doubt about it, the system has got a bunch of monkeys in it, and they cause harm. I gotcha. No problem there. But ultimately, we're one big family, and there are these older brothers, older sisters that have come along the way, you know, and they're ahead of us, and they you know, they help lead and guide us, you know.
Okay.
Well, here come along.
Okay, let's stay with this motif that you got going here, but let's have a look at it from the sun that we have in our sky. How about you have a look at that from it being the fallen sun, it being the fallen Lucifer, and that our points of light generate from other God aspects. You know, I've long said that the sun that we have in our sky right now is extremely juvenile in terms of the galactic sense, if we were to look at things from a scientific, you know, motif. I mean, you look at something like Aldebaran or Arcturus and any of these super giants. I mean, let's have a look at the size of our sun compared to those, and it might as well be the moon placed against our sun. You know, so step way back from that, and that falls in line with what you're saying as far as you know, being sourced elsewhere. I see the sun simply as the prodigal son, the child, the fallen one, and that we, as you were saying, the brothers and sisters of creation itself, are here to pull that little bastard home. And that's what this, for me, is all about. This is exactly where I see the whole fallen angel motif of, you know, the sun finally having a life form on its planet for others to worship it and give it power that it's certainly not capable and not ready for. You know, the sun is at effect to us, not the other way around. And the whole system has been built and set up. I mean, you can look at all of the churches and the domes and what have you that have everything directed straight for the Orion Nebula. You know, so what's going on there? I mean, it is the part of that consciousness that's trying to override this here to keep another fallen sun. And sorry, it's not on my watch. It ain't going to happen. So let's take that one step back in terms of a higher consciousness. I mean, have a look around the planet. You can certainly see certain aspects of humanity that are extremely asleep, even more that beyond asleep are malevolent of the highest order. And that, to me, is the net product of this prodigal sun in the sky that we're trailing behind. So So we're here to steer the prodigal son home, not to be looking at it as we're effect to it. Screw that. That's exactly how we got into the trap in the first place. Now, these are my intuitives on it. Have been that for a very, very long time. And I haven't felt anything to the contrary. And I do. This is all I do all day is I look. And, of course, finding the magic within the words. And you are right. Words fail us the vast majority of the time, which is one of the reasons why it's such a nonsense way of communicating, where a picture shared is worth 1,000 to the nth degree of words. So anyway, those are just my thoughts on it.
Granted, all I can say is that when I go into a deep meditation and I enter into the what you might call the spiritual realm, what I ask for is information, about the current state of what we're doing, and that's how it's spoken to me. Now, is it that way and that way only? I don't know. I can't say.
Well, again,
but
Rich,
that's how I see it. That's how it's broken down to me.
Yeah, this is not about negating what you shared. What this is about is expanding upon it from a bigger perspective. Okay, and that's all. Because I'm here to make you right. I'm just going to shift the gears around where people can see it from different angles. Right. That's what angels are, different angles. So it's time to be all the angels in one, you see. So, again, to take things verbatim, literally, and listen, I've done lots of literal downloads that were me trying to translate into anagogic in real time. So I totally get what you're saying, and for me, it's just like, okay, thoughts come in and boom, 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 and they're wide open, clean, because I get rid of all the nonsense thoughts. And like I spent a couple hours today writing. That's actually an open letter to friends and family. It's me purging all the stuff and getting it all out of my universe. Yeah, boy, won't they be surprised when sitting on that judgment seat won't be them. Boy, they're going to be grateful that I would certainly not judge them as harshly as they have judged me. But that's the biggest joke of all, isn't it? Told ya. Are you ready to come home now? You had enough? Oh, no? Well, then I'm just going to have to send your soul into forfeiture and oblivion. Your call. You listen yet? Yes? Oh, good for you. Look at you. Anyway, so there you go. But I should probably check the board here. So I'm just out putting some food together. What are the odds of that, actually? That's the funny thing. So, yeah, nothing like doing a download and cooking as well. It's an awesome thing. So just let me double check the board here, Richard. Let's get this wide open here. What do we? Oh, yeah, we got lots here. 301. We got Darren and we got Boran. And let me scroll down.
Hello, amigos.
Everybody's in. So let's play.
Hey, you guys were saying exactly the same thing. Just how he was saying, we're like following an inner tube behind our parents, and basically our parents being intent. That's creative intent. That's what represents creative intent to me, because creative intent is God. The upper mind consciousness, that connection is God, and our creative intent is the creative source of all things, and everything else does follow behind that. And just like you're saying, Kate, all things material do follow behind the spiritual intent. That's where all creation begins. That's where life source begins. That's what God is. And basically, Richard and Kate, you guys were both saying the same thing. And hey, good evening. That's all I got to say for now.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm in total agreement with Richard, just from a different perspective, to broaden the horizon and scope on it a little bit, just to move it out of what can be misconstrued as mainstream think. That's all. Like I said, my job here is to make sure that you are right. I'm going to show you how.
And he even did at one point say that is just the details. You know, he was just, you know, he was using, I think, the Rothschilds to use that as showing the details behind of what he was getting at. You know, so it was his point of view, and it was beautiful. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure it was. Sure it is.
But carry on. Go ahead.
Well, let me add just one little thing there, and I'll yield to others. It's the only it's the language that I've been given. You know what I'm saying? I speak the language from which I've been given, the information. The only way I can relate it is that which I have been shown. You know what I'm saying? From an anagogic standpoint, it may be, I mean, if someone was speaking from China, they would use a whole different analogy, so to speak. You know? Anyway, that's what I'm saying.
Granted, again, there's no debate here. What we're doing is expanding the concept that you've brought to the table. That's all. We're not about debating stuff here or making things wrong. I'll leave that for the Alex Joneses and the Tony Z's of the world. I'm not part of that. Not anymore. Used to be. Gave that one up for Lent. Pun intended. Yeah.
It's a nice way to keep Richard, your heart I heard exactly what Richard was saying, and I'm in agreement with what he said. You know, perfectly. He's talking our same language, just in his point of view, just like you said. Yeah, go ahead.
It comes down to language.
I agree with
if
you
can
too,
just
Richard.
hear,
I'm listening and I could hear it.
Am I muted?
I could hear it.
Am I muted? Hello?
I can hear you, Darren.
Yeah, hang on, Barbara. Darren was already talking,
okay.
So please be mindful of people talking and not jumping on them, please. Thanks, everybody. Go ahead, Darren.
As Richard's bringing up a hell of a great point for us all. A point of view. Kate, you don't have opinions. You come from your heart. That's a point of view, period. That's the power of the language. We create, that's my point of view, removing it from our truth, our heart, our point of view. So when we're looking at language, it's not really hard. Kate's done like so many other people have done, like there's so many out there, but yet it's you. Their language doesn't do anything but set an example. If you adopt an Alex Jones tactic or our good brother Mark Passio tactic, you'll be scaring the shit out of yourself all day long, bringing energies of what into your space. They carry language of separation. That's why the us and them, the right and wrong, no longer serves one who wants to be in their heart. So you choose. Sorry, perfect example. Sore, its root. Give up your power. Give her. Go. I say no thanks. I don't need your power. You keep that. You can use it somewhere else. And some who I've done talking to, but yet they continue, it's simply, well, I'll accept that if you want. They leave. They actually just leave my space. Because I said, yeah, I'll take your power. What else is there to do with you? But it's my choice to cast that out, but cancel it right behind there. Let them get the shot in the face and cancel it within my intent. Because words carry frequency. You can do your best and be a master and neutralize a great deal. Yet there are frequencies that are created within the language that are the way they are, and that's why they're there. The English language is perfect. It gives you the option to exercise your will and speak with clear intentions. That's it. Your will to use the language to speak clear intentions will give you the tools to recognize words of separation, words of fear, words of love. Anything else after that is definition. That's the ego. Want to dress it up, make it more. Tell you, don't be bored. Definitions can dilute you to the degree you won't even hear yourself when you're talking shit about yourself. It's crazy. I did it, observed it within myself, and now when it happens in my presence, sometimes I want to just throw myself out of the vehicle at 110 kilometers an hour. But then I say, No contract. You're sneaky. You almost got me emotional. You're crazy. Cancel, clear. It's intent. You want to understand? You want someone else to understand you? Jump up on your coffee table and scream down at them, "Do you want to understand me?" They'll never use the word in your presence again. I assure you. This is your will. You get to stand as king, queen. But please do not be a Palladian princess. Be you. Be the light. Recognize the words. You're the pipe of Mercury. You have the 7 tones in you. And you can create whatever frequency and note you wish. In the moment, you cast a definition outside of the self. And you witness it. You're going to smile. You may still react, but you're going to smile because you witnessed it. Especially if you're hearing me. I don't care if you hear me. The fucking rules are for you just like they are for me. I just hold them for all. Well, I'm better than Teflon. And kyanite feels good. You choose. Pick your words wisely. Take the 10-second count. Give yourself a favor. Talk to yourself like the child. Take 10 seconds because you want to punch this guy in the map. It's the best thing you could do for yourself. But you have to choose. You have to choose when I can't, I'm hard, whatever. Look at the words. Fear-based, love-based. A definition that's trying to, distract you from the fact that it scares the shit out of you. Because if you're honest with yourself, that's a fear-based word. Geez, I use that word. Oh, my conscience. No way, I'm love and light. I'm not in fear. Man. Try to tell someone that they're in fear when they're angry. Good luck. Take a 10 count. That way you don't have to map them. It's your choice. New now, new you. Every moment. If you choose. Or it could be again. I prefer agains. Because once again, you're not letting go, you're accepting. And taking the energy with you in a way that allows you to stand upright, greet whatever definition that's thrown at you, and knowing your truth, lave. It's not you. Never been you. And you find gratitude for those things that have caused you harm. You'll actually find gratitude in things that you've caused harm. And you see what the experience delivered to you. Some of my best teachings were, holy fuck, I don't want to do that again. Pardon me, children. But it is out of love. No one wants to hear unless you drop it once in a while. Feel free, it's fun. But watch them. The words are yours. You get to choose from a bouquet of them. If you don't want to recognize sorry is a fear-based word, accept it for value. Enjoy the energy. I have no contract with you. If you want to make contract with a child by defining it as anything other than a child, no contract. I don't do contract like that. If you want to define yourself, I suggest go to the mirror and redefining yourself. Because it starts with you and no one else. Been in so many lovely dances in this lifetime. All I can do is dance. Enjoy now, because what else is there? The tides turn. Holy cow. That's why they worship the cow. They're holy. glad to be vegetarian. So glad to be choosing me. So glad to have met the people and all that come here to share. Because it is this space that we can truly share intent. That is the direction Kate calls and beckons us here for. Let's take the consciousness, let's put it into play in our favor, like Amy delivered and so many others. The experience is just the experience. It's a situation and circumstance. It matters not. Let's look at the reactions. That way we can begin to master ourselves and the emotions. By the time they enter our field, from our beckoning, we're ready for them. We actually get to go, oh yeah, saw that one coming. And it's all in a moment. It's rewarding. It's a reward not even mama or papa can give you. A reward your 6 figures, your $1 million, your whatever you have attachments to can never give you. This is our time, and we're going to reign. It's over. All we have to do is us, ourselves, you, back at you. And you'll see everyone else standing shoulder to shoulder. And it's gone golden as far as I feel. This show has evolved to a point from in the last 8 months, that's the year to it, beyond imagination. And I'm grateful, ever so grateful. Thank you all.
Thank you, Darren. And that's exactly it, The only one you need to be focused on right now is you. And I can't stress that enough for everybody. And regardless of how we get to our conclusions, how we get the information that we need to get, it's all there. It's everything. I mean, that's a fact. For me, it's about simplifying, codifying, and of course removing all emotions from everything in my day-to-day existence, which I have to be very blunt about it. It's not always an easy task for me, and I'm saying that strictly from I have to wrestle through all the garbage of everything I've been through pretty much every day. I get real fast at it to find that peaceful spot, and here we are in the process of clearing this. And then, of course, over the last couple of years, running into different people that were, claiming to want to help me, when in fact it was nothing of the sort. It was still people looking for something that they could get from me, be it silver or going to be their savior or whatever the case may be. And isn't it funny that as soon as I get depleted of those things, people run for the hills? Well, of course, that's what thieves do, spiritual and otherwise. And I have to tell you, I've dealt with some very mature thieves, and I've also dealt with some very, very immature thieves that really should know better. And here the tough part, I think, for them is actually owning up to it to themselves. They don't want to have to look in their mirror. Sorry, I had to look in mine. I had to see what part of creation I was parasiting and being a part of that parasitic nature, where I chose not to do it anymore, regardless of consequence and fear of everything that was going to be coming into my reality. And for those that have taken the full step outside of the name, you realize very quickly how damn near impossible it is to exist in this Whore of Babylon world. The trap is deep, and it is rife with all sorts of, well, come on back, it's okay, we'll welcome you back to your slavery. Of course you will. Sorry, I'm not buying the bullshit. I don't buy any of it, and I can't. That's the bottom line. I just can't do it. So
yeah, it's a huge. Once you're in that field of energy, that's where you've really got to stand. There's no wavering at that point. That's how the magic's working. Because you're just standing in that point, Kat.
Well, that's exactly how it works. And none of this magic is going to work for anybody until they step over. And I mean that in the most literal sense. Do not expect to get a magic wand if you are not even strong enough to look at yourself and understand that we all got duped on the same spell. All you got to do is break the spell. That is it. Yep. I can make it into something really complicated to satiate your pitiful little egos, but can't do that. It's really, really, really simple. All you got to do is change your mind, and the universe will change with you. Oh, but Kate, I can't see it instantly. This is not drive-through truth, and you're going to have some experiences that are going to weigh for you to give you the measure of the power you're wielding. This is called the leap of faith within self, not the leap of faith within this indoctrinated effect physical system that you've all been parroting for your entire lives. I refuse to parrot. I tell you, when I purge all emotion, and I do have to go through this every single day, that's when my empathic ability opens wide open, so that when I'm hearing things that may sound really cool at this point and really cool at that point, but I tell you right now, it's my radar goes off on such a scale I can't even describe what it is. That's because my emotions are clear, and when I get a gut reaction, it's instant and it's big. Right? So this is one of the reasons why, for me, it is about clarifying and only clarifying things that people bring to the table. I'm not interested in trying to reevaluate somebody else's download. That's none of my business. That's yours, baby. But what I will give you is my perspective on it, and as Darren said, it's going to come straight from the heart. No bullshit, no nonsense, no fuss, no muss, and just learn to get over it real quick, because if you don't, that's ego. And I know we all wrestle with this. This has been the biggest test and the biggest game of all, to get rid of that left brain monkey or doubting Thomas that will not only not allow you to crucify the ego out of self, but as soon as you do, it will give you all manner of doubt to say that you haven't.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. It'd be nice to relax.
Well, I'll give you an example of an anagogic here. I already mentioned it earlier. Here, let me just have a scroll down here. Like I said, I love checking the garbage can to redefine, as per my definitions, the headlines. And I look for the verifications of the effects that we are creating through our causal ability. Where was it? Something regarding the Queen guilty and missing children case. Well, we already know that, but here it is. The article is based on this exclusive interview with the shill Kevin Annett, who was in hiding during the Brussels International Common Law Court of Justice prosecution of global elite members of the Ninth Circle. Say, look at the bullshit. Okay? Let me tell you exactly what's going on here. Even the name is not protecting the demons here any longer. Great big savvy on that one. Have a look at it. Remember what I've said for a long time. I don't know how this monkey's been traveling around the planet saying what he's saying with a legal name in place and not getting grabbed for treason. Well, there it is, boys and girls. The shills are now getting into hiding because evil must be forced to destroy itself. Those that make the rules must obey them. And unfortunately for them, we have awoken. If but one shall awaken, we are doomed, and judged they are. We keep the pressure on. We just got to keep pushing. And the only way to get to the end of this game is quite simply this. Stand in the truth, because to do anything else or to otherwise makes you a Pharisee, a scribe, a lawyer, and a liar. Cry me a river while I burn your soul to nothing. I don't have an issue with that. Because to do otherwise would say it's okay to harm the innocents. To say it's okay to murder and rape. To say otherwise says that I'm in complete support of a system and dark principality designed to enslave your very soul. If that is your wish, have at her. I grant your wish. Or, if it's not, have at her and stand in truth. to whatever degree you are capable of. And I've said this for a very long time. I've never said to anyone, you must do exactly what I have done. No, I've already done that. That's kind of a rerun. But you got to do something. You've got to move in the direction of truth. And I've made it really difficult for people by asking them to pull out an old piece of useless identification that they've never used in many years and will never use again, to use that as their example of by one's actions one is known, cut that in half to show universal intent that you get it. I can't make it any simpler than this. Like, holy. Don't get caught up in the illusions. Don't get caught up in the literals, you know. It's one of the reasons why I've looked at so many different things, and they're all telling the same story. I don't care if you're using Perseus or the Anunnaki or the Ebi, the Uru, Nibiru, UFOs, aliens, the satanic cults of the elite. No, it's all the same story. Here it is. There is a dark principality, demonic essence, that only wants one thing from you, and that's your soul. Are you buying? No, sorry. I don't deal with demons. I don't deal with only those that require a name. Demons. I am one who shall not be named, and no one shall ever know my name but me. Name means way. Go ahead and tell me my direction, please. And good luck with that. Big fail on your part, in the same way that I would never claim to know your way. That's yours. Step into it. That high pitch in your head is not tinnitus. That is your name. Unpronounceable. Unable to breathe it forth because the frequency is too high for the human vocal cords to handle. Ye are gods. God is light, ye are gods. And you shall do greater things than I. I took the cat seriously. And you know what? That mofo was right. He didn't have internet, and look at us go. Woohoo! You want to talk about walking around a couple places in the Mediterranean? Well, I'll tell you, I'm a globetrotter here, and so are you. So tell me he wasn't right. We will and can and have done greater things. We're entering that phase now, guys. This is ante-up or get off the table. I'll tell you, those that are holding the bluff hands, oh, they're going to get folded in time and space, all right. They're going to get folded to the point that, well, their points of consciousness will not exist. There is no room for evil in my reality. I've seen all the contrasts I need to see to know exactly what I would never do. It's time to play. You know, I'm not sure if I did the follow-up on the Wayne and his daughter night, and that Wayne's ex came over and they had a chat, and I got to share this. It came at me this morning. Hopefully I can get to it fast enough here on Facebook. But I want to show you the profound nature of consciousness and how quickly it's waking up. Because I'll tell you this right now, if you can take a devout adversary in the way that, you know, separated parents or divorced parents can sometimes be, and when you take those adversaries and you make them the strongest allies based on truth, you are dealing with one of a kind. You are dealing with a royal flush of royal flushes. That's the ace of spades, high royal flush. Okay, let me just get to it here, because this, you guys need to hear. This is the stuff I'm talking about. These are the miracles, and there was a little follow-up as well from Wayne regarding the sleepover. I love the idea of a cop knocks on your door, play knock knock with them. They knock twice, you knock twice. I thought that was adorable. It works for me, you know. Here we go. All good with White's mom. She just got a bit frightened of what she saw her little girl do. Absolutely, I get that. That would shock most people out of their sleepy state. We had a good talk, and she's starting to get it. She said if she didn't see it for herself, she would not have believed it. What White did today. She phoned me and said that she's been up all night reading all your stuff. I guess the website. now, and she is getting it. She was crying. Now, this is the key point, guys. Pay close attention to this. This is the message of the night and of the universe. She was crying, saying, now I know I've got to stand, not just for my kids, but for all of the children. Because what kind of mom would I be if I don't stand knowing what I know now? She's got it. Oh, yes, she does. And all is good, so a big thanks to you, Kat. And, well, big thanks to you, Wayne. And a great big hug and thank you to White's mom. You know, I don't want to refer to you as X's. X being life. Yeah, you're both life. It's beautiful. But I want to maintain the positive tone here and talk about a beautiful reunion in the truth. We're two people that may have at one point been at odds with each other, coming together on one singular point of truth that matters for all of us. That is where we put our individual needs and greeds and lusts and vices aside to see the greater picture called the rest of humanity. Unfortunately, most of the people I know in North America are of the gimme, it's all about me, screw you, while I stab you in the back to get what is yours. This is the land of covet thy neighbor and rape and pillage at will. That's the problem with capitalism and the whole selling of the American dream, which I refer to as the American nightmare. And that's exactly going back to the Rothschild and the third-party interloper. And they've done a masterful job of getting you to believe in the system. What do we got going on here? Phone call. There we go. Anyway, third-party interloping. I care not who makes the laws. You're absolutely right, Richard. That's Amstel Rothschild, right? Doesn't matter who writes the laws. You control the money. You control whoever writes the laws. Because the puppet string, there's a puppet strings there. And while somebody has a price to sell themselves at, and that's their soul, by the way, if you can find a buyer for this nonsense, then you have a very willing, very able, dark servant. One who only thinks of oneself, who has cut their deal at the crossroads. But here's the trick. The piper's piping. And your payment is due. There's no time left. Not in my reality. I've had enough. And when I see these beautiful things occurring around me, really, what more can I say? What more do I have to say? It's self-evident. That's the nature of truth. You don't have to defend truth. And I tell you, if you start getting into conversations with people that are so left-brained that they can't hear you, stop wasting your time. Hand them a Babylon Has Fallen brochure. Walk the hell away. And Richard, I'm doing my best. I have caught my tongue so many times tonight. And again, my whole attitude regarding that is about dispelling the charge that people have on letters and sounds and shapes. It is merely a measure of the intensity a sound has and the effect it can create if you buy into it completely. Me? Well, you know, the heart source of intent through unconditional love of spirit is actually a pretty good thing. You might spell that out F-U-C-K. So let's dispel the nonsense. But of course, in lieu of those that haven't got that mature yet to think that, excuse me, they're going to be offended by a sound, that just shows you how weak your ego is and how fallible you are in following the opinions of others. It is my purpose anyway, to make sure that you never do that you only stand in what you are, in your truth, from your point of view, where none shall trespass. Again, do not believe anything I'm telling you. These are things that are self-evident that you will discover for yourself. But you've got to be the one to do the looking. You've had enough of the diaper changes from the system. You've had enough of the nonsense of believing lies that were written specifically for you. Dealing in a history in schools that was changed 100 years ago, so really you have not a clue as to what was really going on. Fortunately, we have enough background with others that pass this information along to make sure that our history, our true history, would never be lost. So again, guys, know thyself. Trust no one but thyself. And that voice of fear in the back of your head, that's the ego. Best get that in check and give the tricky little bastard a smack upside the universe with a baseball bat. Paint it pink, if you know what I'm saying. Knock that Spalding right out of the ballpark, right out of the parking lot, right out of the universe. We have all the truth we need now to keep moving forward. The system is crumbling before it. The truth of the name is one that they cannot defy. This is the power we are wielding now. If you would just awaken to know this. Trust yourself knowing. And it's a very simple process. I mean, you can spend a couple of days reading on my site, or you can just simply try to prove that the name isn't the soul contract. And I wish you the best of luck with that. I already tried. Because remember, in my own fight in this game, I was also fighting for a means of survival. Watching every aspect of this reality crumble before me, knowing that I cannot stand in that lie. I cannot stand in a mortgage. I cannot stand in car payments, registrations, birth certificates, children being enslaved. Those controlling the governments deciding when they want to have a war, because while the name consent was there, they had a way with everybody. And if you haven't noticed, it's not the way anymore, because it's not going to happen, not on my watch. Because we're on to you, biatches. You're done. You're toast. Stick a fork in it. You're cooked. You're doomed. So get used to that beautiful music coming from the hearts of hearts. Because in the end, it will be only hearts like ours that will remain. And won't those that have done so much harm against us that we love, won't they be surprised that it's us judging them instead of the way that they have judged us? Interesting days coming, that's for sure. Now, Colleen, I got your mic open, and why don't you hop on in here? Or not.
Hi, Kate.
There you are.
I'm here. Hi, everyone. I have barking dogs right now, so I had a few things to say a while back, but
funny that.
It's
so does the
beautiful. It's beautiful, the evolving story with White Knight and Wayne and White Knight's mama. And what's so beautiful is that it didn't take long at all for her to really see the truth, and that's because it was already within her. She resonated with it. It just took her beautiful 7-year-old to awaken it, and that's what we
think of the magic there.
Yeah. That's what we do for each other, right?
I know.
We just
Mama got to
we
witness
awaken
it.
that.
She got to witness it before she actually found out what really happened there. So that to me is another judge bows to sovereign. What just happened? Better have a look.
Yeah.
Right. Carry on.
Yeah. Yes. And if you go, really deep in the spiritual levels, that had been planned a long time ago. And not just for them, but for all of us to witness it. It's just so beautiful. It's true. But the words just don't cover it. We struggle to express all of it, but it's just all so beautiful. And just listening to all of you and the different points of light you all bring, it's so beautiful. And I was, let's see, I don't know if you remember, Kate, about 2 years ago we were all on the call, and Tony was still on the call, and we were talking about the sun, and that's when I really looked at that, and it really, I really awoke with that about the sun being outside of us, and it's not that the sun is all powerful. We are the ones that are giving the sun and the moon and our beloved Gaia our energy and creating. And so everything outside of ourselves, this is just what comes to me, my piece. And while everyone was talking, I wrote down that everything outside of ourselves is really like fear-based. And when we acknowledge and honor ourselves as the masters that we are, that comes from love. That is love-based. And so much of how society has been, it's always about looking outside of ourselves for everything. And isn't it interesting in school? We've been talking about the school system and children and education. And isn't it interesting, the two things that are so, the energy in our lives are so powerful that it has been, money, the money system, and death. Those two things were never talked about in school. You might talk about economics when you're a little bit older in high school or college, but never talked about the money system or about how death is just a part of life. So there was that whole fear and that whole mystery about death, never talked about. So when you guys are when everybody's talking, those are some of the points that came up for me.
Awesome. I thought you were going to carry on there. Yeah, okay, good. I'm still on the board. Oh, we got Barb jumping back in here. Good. I seem to have lost her on the call. There you are, Barbara.
Yes, here I am. Here I am, Kate. I'm right here. I'm listening, and I agree with Richard. And I see what Richard was saying to us is that the same thing someone has taught us about that mind over matter, that feminine, that masculine energy. All those thoughts that he was giving to me, that's the first thing I was start thinking about, that he is more in contact with his feminine energy when he gives all of the credit of the mind over the effect. And then you had taught that, that to stay out of the left brain and to stay in the right brain for the type of response that we want, being people of love and of positive energy. And I find that to be very true.
Well, again, it's everything is open to interpretation. For me, I just simply like expanding upon the ideas that have long ago been expanded on already. So it's nice to see it turn the full circle. Because going back to what Colleen was saying a couple of years ago, and I know there was a lot of resistance from Tony when I first mentioned the idea that the sun is our effect, not our cause. And of course, the last straw with him was, bulldoze the pyramids, and he's like, no. Until you can look at both sides of the coin, you're dualized and you're polarized. So I happen to think they're, in terms of historical looking at them, beautiful things. But the other side of it, what they've done to humanity, and are minimally capable of doing anything now, because the river, the Nile that powered them, the Kundalini spine of humanity on this planet, has moved far enough away from it to be out of its influence. Thus, the creation of HARP to try to corral that intention to create in the minds, media create the mind of a storm, and then as soon as people start thinking that, all of that energy is gathered up because, these zombies haven't got a clue as to who they are, and that their attention units are being grabbed up by another. So lo and behold, there's all the power that the principality needs to generate a storm, of which we can just as quickly knock out as well. And these are the things that are very hard for others to understand. Well, what do you mean, Kate, that we can control weather? And absolutely. Did you not read any of the stuff that these teachers taught, or the thing about moving rivers and mountains and shit? What part of that didn't you get?
Right.
I mean, people are so busy taking these books literally. Why don't you actually take the right stuff literally?
Yeah.
It's us, just like the
Absolutely.
saying, we are the ones. It's not about something outside of ourselves. And I just wanted to ask Richard, when he says he's opened up to the spirit world and he's been given this information, Richard, are you saying it's something outside of yourself that's giving you this information? Because that's kind of, for me, that when I get information, I know that it's me. It's me that's giving me the information.
No gray area, hey, Colleen?
Yes.
So let me say it this way, okay? I saw a picture of you on my website. You were holding your child, right? All right, so is that child outside of yourself and yet still a part of you?
Is she outside
I'm not really following that, Richard. Let's try this one again.
All right, let me say it again. Let's think about this. Okay, you were holding your daughter in that photograph. Okay, can she be two things at the same time? Can she be both outside of you and yet a part of you?
Well, one of them is a physical facsimile. The other is simply you. So I think what Colleen's asking is, better yet, I'll just tell people, and I've said this many times, what happens with me is the eyes close, the head goes down, and the mouth just goes. And there is not one thought in my head as I'm talking. It is just, there it is. There are no pictures, there is nothing, there is just, here it is. Because I don't need to think. Not for this. This is what downloading is to me. Right?
Yes.
If I'm going to sit there...
And it's you. It's you.
Oh, it's pure me.
Kate?
I know that. It's pure source.
Yes.
I know that.
Yeah.
There's no.
Well, you say you're alone with no effects on the universe. I'm like Richard. I think that you could be. I don't think it's all me because situations happen. I think I have, since I gave up the quote, let go and let God, I allow things to happen. And things that happen that, I can't say it's me. I just met someone new that walked up to me, and I'm at the bus stop and they have a car. So I can't say that I pull that energy of this car riding person to me at the bus stop, when normally people who are at the bus stop are there to catch the bus. So I'm thinking that there's some outside forces that bring situations into people's lives.
That is you. This is the point that Colleen, myself, and others are trying to make. That is you. Mm-hmm. There's no one waiting for the bus. You are the bus. Yeah. So this is the whole divide and conquer, thinking that something is separate from you, and this is why I will not compare things outside of myself. At all. I can't do that because that is becoming an effect to an effect, right? Remember, everything that you're looking at is past. It's already done. It's illusion. What we can draw from it, and the only thing we can draw from it, as far as I can tell, are the things that I feel. And by my actions, I am known. My downloads are in written form. And that's where most of it comes from, is where I'll sit there. And I hate using that term. It sounds so freaking new cagey now. It just drives me nuts. It's simply this. I am at one with myself and fully accessing that which I already know to become more aware of. That's it.
And like Darren said no gray area. No gray area, right, because that's when how would I say it?
The definition is created.
Yes. When you stand in a gray area, then you're vulnerable. Maybe that's what I wanted to say. Does that make sense? You're kind of vulnerable to outside energies. But when you stand in knowing who you are, that those messages are you. Coral was on one night a few weeks ago, and she spoke of being in court. And she said something about, wow, it just blew her away that someone was there in court and they stood up for her and they said all this on her behalf, and she couldn't believe it. And I said, yes, that was you. That was another part of you that was standing up for you. That's where we are. And so, Barbara, when you're at the bus stop, you created that. We're manifesting everything as we go. You manifested that person to come up and whatever happened with you on that bus. It's nothing outside of you. And I would invite people, when you refer to God, to really look at that. What is God?
The creating energy. That's what I use. I see myself as the GOG, the generator, operator, and the destroyer, those terms. But I also know I was taught that the God that we use in the Bible was the German term for expressing the higher being and those people's lifestyle. But as far as the Most High is how I really create, I address the Creator, because I consider myself as God from the teaching that I've learned from the families of people here at the Emerald Table. So as being a movie star and a God in a movie, I haven't been able to talk to you young people for a while because I've been out into places that's been too noisy to actually be able to talk. So since I haven't been able to talk to you, I've been writing you letters. And just like we're having this conversation now, I got a whole little pack of essays. Like I wrote you, Colleen, to tell you about your birds and different things. And I wrote Kate to tell her about bitching at everybody and putting them in check. And I wrote a Ninja to tell her different things. So I've got all this stuff in writing because I haven't been able to share it over the telephone. But I have been enjoying you so much, Kate. You've been ranting. I love a good rant, but I'm still telling you, I got your back, soul sister. I stand by. But you have really been going
We feel your essence, Barbara, even if you're not at the table. We really feel your essence.
I'm so glad.
You're just so
glad.
beautiful energy, of course. But so if you recognize yourself as the GOD, then can you see you created that person to come up to you at the bus?
This is what I'm saying. I mean, I enjoyed the encounter, but I did not. I mean, it wasn't on my mind. It wasn't something that I don't understand how I could have been responsible for this joy. Like I said, it turned out it was a joyful experience, but I don't see how I was responsible for that occurring.
Well, because you're holding good vibrations, Barbara. You attract light because you're light. Light attracts light. Dark attracts light. Hey, if you're dark, you go to the bar and you get in the pub and party all night long. And it's not bad. Nothing bad. Just vibration. You're low. It is you. That's why it's such a benefit to look on to others as if they're God themselves you're interacting with. How will you react with the one that's before you? And you reacted in a joy-filled way and got a car ride. How'd you do that, God? Did you wait for someone else to create that for you, or did you? This is a mirror moment. That's an answer for you. I don't need to hear it.
Well, let's
and this
put it
is the time to take. This is the time to take to honor and acknowledge your mastership or your God self. You can say something else outside of you created that, or you can embody that and know it in this lifetime. This is where we are. And you can come back again another 100 times before you really get it. And I'm speaking of myself and everyone, not just you, Barbara. Or we can recognize it and honor it and embody it now, in the now.
Well, how about we just disembody the whole G-O-D in the now, shall we? Let's
I'll
just
go
take
for
that.
that.
Let's take that absolute bullshit word and destroy it once and for all tonight, shall we? Ragnarok indeed. G, the hex, the Masonic hex. The six-sided figure that creates the cube. You know, the Xbox and the rest of the cubes that this planet loves to worship. Let's take O as creation itself, because it is. And let's have a look at the capital D as being the mirror, and only half the story, where the hex of creation is mirrored upon itself, the G-O-D. And let's slice and dice that little mofo into nothing and replace it with the spirit of all creation in the law of truth. We'll take the G-O-D and kill it for the K-O-T. So if you want something a little more definitive as to what you may think a Kot or God to be, let's just say what it really is, instead of reissuing the same hex all the time, because I know the vast majority of people are still saying the letter G, or any words with it, without full understanding that that letter is pure hex of the highest order and magnitude. So let's just dispel that now, shall we? Remember, it's their money, their coins, their high priest. Coin means high priest. That has in God we trust. Of course, the hex of creation in the mirror is what they trust. But the ruse is up. And I'll stay with the spirit of creation of the law of truth in the KOT, which is me, magnetic electric U, international symbol of intent for electricity, which is also feminine because it travels with electrons. So go ahead and tell me what part of this universe contains a penis anyway. And I will tell you none of it. So much for Osiris. Good thing he got it lopped off, because that's where it needs to stay.
Yes.
Don't miss the allegory. That was humanity trying to save itself by lobbing that off, and they made it into this, oh, it's such a bad thing. No, it's not. And ever since then, they've been sticking penises up all around this planet. They call them obelisks and little spires on churches and towers and whatnot. But it's all the same thing. They like to put it inside the Vesica Pisces, like somehow it rules it. Again, even the Vesica Pisces is duality and nonsense, instead of dealing in the trillium or the trivium. The Trinity, the Holy One. There is no three, there is one. And that one component contains all aspects of creation, of creative void and intent at the same time. So let's just get rid of that God word altogether and throw it down the shitter where it belongs, with the rest of the pastors and the ministers and the rabbis and the imams and anyone else out there flogging their wares for the demonic salesmen that apparently say it's okay for the RFID chips to be installed in their humble, serving little slaves. At least now you know what side the bread's buttered on, don't you? How about you throw that mofo up in the air, and I guarantee you when it hits the floor, it'll be butter side down and it sticks. That's the thing about shit. You throw enough of it against a wall, it'll stick. And I'm sick, sore, and tired of these buildings that they don't want you looking outside in clarity. They want to have you staring through stained glass with your stained reality, with your stained, by consent soul that is yours to deal with, not mine. I've dealt with mine, and I constantly deal with it. That's my job.
Yes, thank you, Kate. And I'm in full agreement with, please, everyone listening, do not bring that hex to this table anymore. Do not use that word anymore. Thank
you. I am just so tired of hearing that nonsense, that reinforcement of a spell. Again, until you understand the true meanings of what's going on within it, the intent is owned by another. So you better be fully aware. And I think I've made it crystal clear as to the intent of that word really is. And it attaches.
Many times, Kate, many times.
So let's, Richard said earlier, I don't know what to call it, but let's call it what it is, the spirit of creation and the law of truth, Kot, K-O-T. Ka-T, spirit of, there it is again, Ka-T, Ko-T, co-creation. We do this together. Funny how
we do it together and we say it in love, the highest love.
We bring our brothers up, not down.
Yeah, if you want the trivium, it's easy. It only requires 3 Ks. One facing right, one facing left, and one facing up or down. Doesn't matter because it's the crossbar that's needed, and the 2 outward bars are already in place for it. 3 Ks. So there's your tree to create the Coptic key. You can't make this up. We already did. It's crystal clear. You just have a choice now of accepting the magic or not. I just chose to accept it. It's very, very simple. I am with.
Okay, who is this? Who is this guy? They call David David Icke.
Oh, David Icke, reptilian lover. Yeah, that guy.
Who is he? I mean, is he someone to listen to? I mean, does he have any validity to his stories?
Well, no,
there's not too much to listen to, Barbara, beside this table and maybe Savon and.
No, Donahue, Savon, this table are the only places I care to visit, and the only time I go somewhere else is when I want to take someone else's headline and destroy it into the anagogic. That's it.
They're distractions to take you away.
Okay, let me call these guys out once and for all, okay? Anybody that's selling fear porn in any way, shape, or form and doesn't understand that they're under a curse via the name are nothing more than shidiots, which is a shill or an idiot. You get a choice of 1 or 2 at this table, okay? So you're either a shill working for the dark principalities, and quite frankly, I think Dave Icke's smart enough to actually wake up to this. So he's walking a real fine line with me. He wants to talk about protecting children and all the rest of it. Well, Dave, time to step up to plate, and you might want to lose a bit of weight there. Your gross income is showing on your waistline. Okay, same as Alex Fat Jones. Okay, yes, Alex, you are resistance to truth porn. Yes, you are, Alex. Time to wake up, smell the coffee. You know what, Dave? I'll tell you a little bit about the reptilians that you're so worried about. We all got the reptilian in us, you dope. It's an allegory to tell you it's the reptilian brainstem that's got you under control, monkey nut. Okay? Who else you want me to call out tonight? I'll call them all out because, quite frankly, good promo, bad promo, I don't give a shit what it takes to sell the truth because you don't got to sell it. So come on to this table.
And
I got no issues.
Here's a real Here's a real clue, too. When these people are talking about words and language, and they never mention Kate of Gaia or Kate at all, that's your clue right there. Because Kate is everywhere. You Google, and Kate's the number 1 that comes up. So there's your clue there. They don't want to bring Kate and what Kate has brought the truth out. So that's your clue, that it's just they want to just do partial, maybe for notoriety or, to be famous or whatever. And some really are genuinely wanting to bring truth out. That's the clue when Kate is never invited to come. Yes, Kate has been known to rant and things like that, but that isn't it. They don't want the full truth to come out. So that'll tell you right there what they're about.
All right. Thank you very much, because I certainly had wondered. I had seen they were talking about. Oh, well, anyway, I'm glad to know that. And I see that waistline you're talking about too, Kate, because, that belly was hanging over that belt. You're right.
You're right. That's my truth, Barbara. That is what has come to me. I'm sharing that. So you do your own research, and everyone else that's listening, do your own research. Sit in the dark, quiet, meditate, and see what truth comes to you.
That's all it takes. Now, I had an email earlier, it might have been yesterday actually by the time I got to it, but I read it today from Marcus, and he had suggested Red Ice Productions or Red Ice Radio Productions, whatever the hell they're calling it. I've contacted them many times, and never heard anything back. And the other fundamental thing that I will not do is their standard protocol is to have a 2-hour interview where they put the first hour up and you got to buy the second. I don't play that game. So if you want to talk to me, you either put the 2 hours up fully available or I don't do an hour. So that's the bottom line. I will not compromise. The last 2 mainstream type hosts that I had the displeasure of nauseating myself hanging out with, one of them being Sean, whatever his name was, at that shill station that claims to be the biggest on the internet. Well, that's what happens when you have advertising. Sellout. And the other one was the Andrew Bartzis thing that weekend that he made damn sure I wasn't going to get involved talking between Sasha Stone and Santo Bonacci, because those little cleaver boys were out to try to do a soul grab on Santo. And Santo's a beautiful man. He's very, very loving and very accepting. I would actually say to the point of being a very gullible, innocent child. I've watched it happen too many times, and only to see if something that's not agreeable, he goes off on a rant, and that's okay. That's someone had posted something in the room today about Santo not being in the rooms. I said Santo has always been in the rooms. No sooner did I ever add him to the rooms that he within a day or two left because it was too noisy or too busy for him. That's fine, but don't ever assume that he wasn't invited. Okay, that shows you what you know, and it ain't much. But I'll say this right now: there are very few, and I'll tell you, the hosts that I spent the time with that actually let me finish a sentence, that actually allowed me to get a concept across, were absolutely beautiful interviews. You know, people like Mike McCracken, I'll talk with that man any day of the week, at any given point.
Yeah.
Because I've had some of the most profound interviews with him because we're on the same page. He's not afraid of the truth. He understands it. He knows what's going on from the anagogic. I've had a couple of other places. Got to find out, where was it? It was actually on Facebook. I will mention this right now because the individual tagged me, Jack McCagg. I'm still waiting to hear back whether or not it's Eastern Standard Time, but apparently it's, where was it? Thanks for connection. My co-host for the show is David Bryson, founder of Evolve Fest. That festival has 150,000 followers. Good, we'll bring our million to the table. How about that? Our show is Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m.
Kate, what happened with Johnny? Because there was some.
Oh,
good,
Johnny.
Yeah.
No, Johnny Guzman. No, he's still terrified of having to let go of the name. I mean, every conversation I had with him, it was always about clinging on to this so that he can keep his filthy lucre coming in. So, no, Johnny and I parted ways a while back because, I got tired of him asking me to come on shows, and then he'd never show and would never give me sorry, Kate, can't do it tonight. Can you put it off to next week? I just got tired of that shit. I mean, that was standard protocol for him. How many times did the show?
You did have a few in the beginning. Some good
I had lots of shows
with him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not negating that, but what I am saying is I don't play that game of table tennis with idiots anymore, especially those that are too cowardly to actually stand up for a change and grow a fucking pair of nads. Okay? Sorry, Richard, just had to let that one go. But anyway, to finish off here, we'd love to have you. And by the way, Jack, don't worry, I'm very well behaved on other people's shows. Unless you don't want to hear the answers, and that's okay too. We would love to have you just say the word, yeah. I just need to know what time is it, Eastern Standard, so that I can let everybody here know and get on with you guys. But I gave him a copy of that beautiful video that Maria put together today with the Babylon Has Fallen. Maria, oh my. I have nothing but wow. When I first plugged that in, and just to hear that beat, it grabs you at the gate. And by the time that little 7-minute piece has gone by, that truth just gets hammered into you, and it's got a beautiful locking beat to it that says, yeah, you're going to hear this, and you're going to remember it because it's got a beat all its own. So thank you for that. I mean, as she said to me, she woke up without any intention of doing anything like that, but it just hit her, and that's what I call songwriting. It's when I've never had an intention to get up and write a song. It just kind of hits, right? But again, all's fair in love and war. If you want to find out who the shills are, just look for the people. You do it yourself. Contact these people and ask them to interview me and watch the reaction. Better yet, start plastering kateofgaia.wordpress.com all over the davidike.com website and Alex Jones and the rest of it, and see how long it lasts. Okay? You see, I can't do this on my own anymore. I've been doing it for a long time, and I got to tell you, my email address and my Facebook and all the rest of it are very, very recognized by a lot of sites out there, and you'd be surprised at how many I can't post on. Wonder why? And I know why. I know exactly why. And Colleen, you have it spot on. I'm not out to prove anything. I'm only out here to find truth. I don't need to be right. I don't need to be wrong. I just simply I know the truth is the truth will set you free. So I stand in that, and I keep moving towards that. And if people have an issue with that, then they enjoy slavery. Enjoy the obelisk up the ass for the next whatever 1,000 lifetimes. Your call, your baby, but I'll tell you, you're not going to be part of my reality. My reality will only be of benevolence, will only be of kindness, will only be of equal understanding of all, co-creating together, singularly and collectively. Enough of this physical nonsense already. I mean, hey, we got a kids page set up now, and there's a group going on about that I got to tell you, there's no way I could even dream of doing something like that. So this is Kate calling on you. Thank you guys that are stepping up and helping, and those that have. I mean, we've had Portuguese translations come in today, Spanish to come, Italian to come, Danish came in today. I mean, it's just coming in fast and furious of the documents. And quite frankly, the most important document that needs translated right now is Babylon Has Fallen, because that pretty much covers it in a nutshell. And you start posting that little YouTube link around all the different cop sites and newspapers and everything else, it only takes one to open it. And besides, it's your intent that's going out anyway, and I can't drive this point home often enough. Well, what difference am I making? Well, I'll tell you what it is there, you with no name and pure God status, caught, let's call it. Okay? You're changing the universe. Is that good enough for you? Or do you need the drive-through truth burger? Well, I can see the results instantly. Well, I sure felt them. I feel everyone that makes the move. I feel that energy. And those that are in the headspace of benevolence, you feel the shift. And sometimes it feels like a little bit of a head rush. I get those quite often with lateral time slides. You know what's going on. And it's getting real big exponentially. That's why those that are not willing to stand in truth, you're for lack of a better term, you're fucked. I have to tell you. But you better stand in the truth now and make a commitment towards it, or you're done. And there's nothing I can do or nothing anyone else can do to help you. That's your baby. You want to fry that fish? You're the one in the fry pan. Turn the heat up. Sizzle it real good. And hopefully it'll get hot enough for you to finally jump out of that fry pan and into the fire with the rest of us, so that you can turn to the ash or the cot that you need to be, the eta, the yang in the law of truth of yin, create light instead of the yin-yang. They got that backwards too. I don't know what else to tell anybody. I don't know. Am I not being passionate enough about it? Do I sound like a slacker? Do I sound like I don't give a shit? Do I sound like I'm unconcerned? Or is there something in my voice that sounds almost desperate? I would go with that one. Time's short, people. If you give a damn about anything or anyone outside of yourself, you better get busy and start planting seeds, and that's all you got to do. You don't got to be a preacher on a pulpit somewhere. You don't have to stand there and explain shit. You just need to pick up things. There's brochures, 2 of them on the website that you can print out. And if you haven't got a printer, find someone that does. Print out a handful of copies. Start emailing them. Get the word out. Do you know of any local churches maybe that have an email address or 2? How about local law firms? How many of you, and there are many of you out there that have done this, and my gratitude knows no bounds because that's what I've done. That's what I do. But I'm afraid my time in terms of having to come to this table every night to make sure it's here, because I guarantee you it's going to be here.
And you don't have to do it like everybody else. Do it in your own style.
Exactly.
Just remember to smile.
Style and smile. There you go.
Always.
Yeah.
I like that.
Harmony for you.
Yeah, step into your cot booties, will ya? Please. And enough of the literal nonsense that happens on this table on occasion. I'm really done with that. I'm really done with it. I don't need the long, drawn-out stories of this, that, and the other. Just give me the facts. I mean, how much more time you want to waste at this?
Yeah, we haven't called a firefighter yet, have we? Have we called in a firefighter yet?
No, but they're uniforms like the rest of them.
Well, let's call in a firefighter.
Yeah, we have firefighters. I got some here.
Oh, yay.
There you go. Ambulance drivers. I mean, hell, you might as well help them out. They're tending to the dead anyway.
Any taxi cab drivers? I love taxi cab drivers.
Yeah. Do you know what's really ironic about this? When you know who you are and that you are no name, you are completely untouchable on all levels in terms of anything legal or lawful on this planet. Which effectively means that if you wanted to put one into the side of the head of a cop, they're dead by consent anyway. You're not killing anything that wasn't already consented to be dead. That's how they've been treating us. Good for the goose, good for the gander. I'm not saying go out and do it, but I'm pointing out the reality of this. That's the power of the shit I'm talking about here. And this is one of the things that scared me a long time ago, knowing what I knew then. Well, people could literally get off with murder on this. Yeah, they could, but unfortunately they can't, because that's just a trespass on free will choice. So you're going to be damned if you do and damned if you don't anyway. What I'm doing is carrying not a theory, an analogy across to show you the power of what this is. No, it's not something I would do. But if you're going to be consenting to be dead, it puts one in you. They're not killing anything that wasn't already consented to be dead. So no harm, no foul, I guess, huh? There you go, judges, lawyers, cops. You're all carrying names. You're all demonics. Yeah, Johnny Demonic. That's you. And your time is here. It's not coming. It's here. You better own up. We've got 9 minutes left here. I'm not sure how much I'm going to roll over, but anyway, let me just do another telephone number shout out and for the station, and you guys can have at her. We got Data Wiggy and also Richie. You guys can jump in right after this. If you want to call in, you can call in at 661-467-2401, or you can put BTR listener 029 into Skype search. Hit that. As soon as it comes up, right-click it to hit call. That will bring you to the table. If you're on the Blog Talk page, there's a Skype button. Hit that, and that'll bring you here as well. Once at the table, all you have to do is one on the dial pad on the phone to let me know that you want in, or open up the dial pad on Skype, which works the same way as any other phone, and hit one there, and that lets me know that you want in as well. That being said, a great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk, and for everyone that is standing in truth, not theirs or mine, truth. Because, see, it's self-evident for everybody. Truth belongs to all, and I'll be damned if I'll let anyone sell anything that I say, especially when it's been given out freely for years now. Not a chance. I'm not selling at this point of the game. But that being said, gratefully appreciate all the efforts that everyone does to transmute any filthy money lucre back into its pure essence, where it's being used to destroy it, i.e. any support of criticalmassradio.co.uk. I don't care if it's 1 pence per month. That's pure power getting put there. So just keep that in the back of your mind, but keep the intent most assuredly at the front row center here, because that's what changes universes. I know, we've been changing it for a while. Haven't you noticed? Yeah, I thought you might.
Yeah.
But that being said, just to let Alvita, you're in. I've got Richie and Data Wiggy in here as well. So we got about 7 minutes to roll over for those that want to get in. For any of the rollover, I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay on. But you got a little over 7 minutes to do so, because once we roll out of the live part, we go into recording, and you're shit out of luck. Sorry about that. We got room for maybe a dozen more on the board for anyone that does want to roll. Anyway, carry on, guys. Oh, and Debbie, you're in the board now too. I just got your Skype up there.
Good evening, everyone.
Hola, how are you?
I am.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Just want to say, great show, great information, and yes, we create everything every second of the day. So whatever happens to us, it's because of us. We create it all. We are the ones that have the power, and the universe just brings it to us when we know who we are. You know. So I just wanted to say that before I get cut off. Anyway, thanks everyone. Love everybody.
Hey, Elvita.
Hey, Elvita.
When
are you going to get on Skype, by the way? Sorry, Debbie. Just wanted to... Elvita, get on Skype. Quit your lazy ass in it here. You're Gemini. Get busy. Get on Skype. Let's party. Okay?
That's the same with me, Kate.
I know. I've been telling you for years.
I haven't
yet. Lazy ass don't want to get Skype rolling. All right, you got called out live on the air. I love you. That's how much I love you, because I want to hear from you more.
Hello.
Alvita, you still on?
I'm not sure who. I'm not sure who
Hello.
just jumped in there. Just let's leave it open for a second.
Mystified. I hear mystified. Yeah.
No, it was Data Vigge.
Hey.
Yeah.
Data Vigge, how are you?
Yeah, I haven't been gone. I listen every night nearly. But this time I have something to say. As I am translating the Babylon is Falling to Swedish, because the Swedes doesn't believe anything that isn't Swedish, and their English suck. So, yeah, it's translated. I'm going it over and over to make it perfect or good enough. Yeah.
Well, hey, Data, you know the concepts contained within, so just use whatever words you need to convey that, and you already know that. So that's why we need people that are fluent in English and in other languages, so they can convey the concepts. It's not the words; it's the concepts that matter.
Yes, I'm actually better at English than Swedish, because I read and watch so much English stuff. Yeah.
Well, your English has always been great. I've never had an issue with it, so I'm not surprised there at all. So it looks like we lost Debbie there. Wendy, you're on the board as well. No, I'm not cutting anybody short here. I'm just letting people know when they're on the board. So.
Hey, I'm here.
Richie, how are you?
All right. How's everyone doing? Yeah, I'm just taking my 2 cents worth and putting it in. Yeah, last night I really wish I was live to be able to talk with you guys, because I was just in that 0 point total consciousness of being in the now, and I just want to just give I'm thankful and grateful for everybody that I listen to and hear. In the last couple of days that I've been listening in, I've listened in every night. I missed the beginning part of the show last night, but what I've been experiencing, with my ears and consciousness is just absolute amazement, with everyone, and it's just blowing my mind, and it's funny. I'm relating to Darren, and I just had a smile, just smiling last night listening to you guys. It was fantastic, and it's just and the other thing too I was thinking last night is because that's the thing that resonates with me, and we're all the same, so of course we're going to have the same questions, and and I'm sitting there and I play with my contemplating state, and it's like, and I'm conscious, and I always say, why am I conscious? And I know I say I know, but it's all good. And why am I conscious? And I go back to that state, and it puts me in a good space. How am I conscious? And what I recognize is that's what that question in my mind, in my experience, is what created everything. And we all are that one point of conscious that I think, well, I know is what created the effects, and we're living within them with that cause, consciousness that we can call whatever we want to call it. It's the eternal essence of what we are, and in my mind, that's what created everything, and what it is we're doing is rising back up into that causal state. Because last night when I was hearing you guys, I was listening to, the last couple of nights, I was listening to God. I was listening to that eternal state of consciousness, and I just felt joy. I really did, listening to all of you, and I just had a big smile, like Darren said, and it's tricky for me, and I think staying in that, because we're subject to be pulled back into the effects, to fall, and I think, well, I know.
Well, Richie, that's exactly why I tell people you've got to be constantly diligent with this, and we can get caught up in the literal stuff so very, very quickly. I need to jump in here. We got less than 30 seconds to roll over. Also, okay. Area code 9. You can keep going. Just give me a second here. Just to let people know. Remember, leave me a little breathing room, guys. Okay, these long things are cool, but leave me some breathing room so that I can keep people coming in that need to come in here. Area code 956. I opened your mic before there was a noise, so I'm going to open it again. Please keep it mute on your end. Appreciate it. Debbie, your mic is open again. Randy's in the call with us now as well. I got Borean open up again, and there you go. Now, Debbie, you did try to jump in a few minutes ago. Richie, if you want to finish off, and then we'll get Debbie in here, please.
Hello. Yeah. Well, the girl you were talking about too. That was. I just wanted you to fill me in because I didn't get the beginning part of the show. She stood her ground with a cough, huh? She was with her mother.
Yeah, almost 8 years old of her. Yeah.
And what did she do again? Could you just say it real? You just
well,
go by
the came up to the window and greedily and lustfully lick your chop for. Have at her, Roman soldiers. Because you're going the way of the Pharisees and the scribes and the lawyers and the judges and all the rest of the filth that inhabits this planet in a dark, dark way. That includes the queens and the kings and the governments and the police agents. Of course, the werewolves, they go right along first with their masters, the vampires that rule the governments and the kings and the queens. Remember, the governments and the courts are only the sandwich filler to give you the illusion that there is somehow a power there. They're just used to keep the facade going, where the werewolves, known as cops, and for those, I urge any shill, paid shill that is tuned in here right now, you better have a very good look in your mirror, my friend, because your soul is on the block here. So whether you've sold it for $50 or $200 or $1,000 an hour, that's entirely up to you, because that's telling reality and consciousness that that's all you think your soul is worth. So, well, time to cash in, isn't it? We've had too many victories to look the other way now. And for those still needing a satiated ego diaper change, please feel free to tune in here at any given time, where we have shared constantly, and I've done it myself too many times, I've lost count. But it's not relevant that I do it because, hey, I host this thing. Who the hell would believe someone that would host a radio show? I mean, really. Do you believe Alex Jones? Do you believe any of these other shilsters that are there just to keep your mind occupied, keep you in anger, keep you in fear, keep you in the illusion, thinking that somehow anything in this system is real? Sorry, we don't deal that here. And that being said, I'm going to bring Richard in here because we're going to wide open this thing tonight. And we're going to drive this point home because time is short, boys and girls. Just got that real strong gut feeling today. I don't know about you guys, but I sure as hell did. And a little note, too, I had received an email from, what was it, Harris, something or other. Anyway, if you're going to email me, please include an email that I can respond to. When I hit reply, it's actually one that's functioning. Because I really hate wasting time answering an email for, about 15, 20 minutes. Putting thought and care into it only to have an email address absolutely defunct. So thank you for wasting not only my time but your own. But it doesn't matter. The contract went out, so whether you're aware of it or not, it's already sealed. There you go. Hey, Richard, how are you doing, my friend? Great to have you.
Hey, Kate. I was communicating with you earlier today. I got a pure download while I was meditating. And I had to record it because it was so strong that I didn't want to lose it. So I'm sorry for not being live.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box on the first day of Ragnarok. We take this puppy down now. And, as per usual, the beautiful things show up exactly when they're supposed to. Thanks for tuning in to your table here at Outside the Box, criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, yapping as usual. For those that do want to call in, imagine that. I actually remembered at the start of the show for a change. Nice. Anyway, you can call in at 661-47-2401, and of course you can call in via Skype on the Blog Talk page you may be listening on, or you can take the shortcut by putting BTR Listener 029 into the search contacts on your Skype. Hit search, and when it pops up, just right-click it, hit call. That'll bring you directly to the board. Once at the board, all you have to do then is hit 1 on the dial pad on your phone, or open up the dial pad on Skype and hit 1 there. And don't worry, for all the newbies to Skype, you'll figure it. Okay, it's quite easy. Just hit the plus sign. You'll get it. Or you might be lucky and have an updated version, and the keypad's right there. You just click on that, and it opens up for you as well. Where to begin? Well, I'll tell you, Maria did an astounding job putting one hell of a drum beat and rhythmic pattern to Babylon Has Fallen. The actual it's not an I just call it a systems flayer is all it is. We'll call it a document, essay, article, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter to me. It's just a pure right in your face, get the job done, go ahead and try to prove this wrong truth. And that goes for any silly free men on the land or any silly sovereigns or anybody still concocting fear porn, thinking that somehow their protests and legislation and all the rest of it are going to actually make a hill of beans of difference. Sorry, until your soul is free, you are nothing but a slave, and you will get shit and pissed on from great heights, and you will deserve it. But that's what ignorance gets you, and what we're here to do is to remove that ignorance once and for all. Humanity is shitting. So Maria, once again, an astounding job. I would ask people to get that little video clip viral, because in 7 minutes and 7 seconds, it nails every off and shut. And I do urge people to post it on police Facebook pages, newspapers around the world, courts. I don't care. Post it everywhere. Because, you see, upon sending, the contract is sealed. And for those that know who all love to rant and rave about so much was telling you, you see, that's the irony, the disgusting irony, in that all of these churches, all of these mosques and synagogues have been teaching you exactly the opposite of what all the great teachers taught you, including, people like Hare Krishna that were around 10,000 years before this Jesus boy shows up. And if you had a close look at all of these stories, you will see that these great teachers were actually truth rebels of the most extraordinary level. They were telling you to stay away from the banks, the temples, the money lenders, to turn over their tables of Babylon. They were the ones that never set foot in a church and told you exclusively to never do such a thing. These are the ones that the Pharisees you so aptly worship at all levels of your ignorance and sheer stupidity and hatred of self. These very buildings are the ones that people like Jesus and all the rest of them, Muhammad, told you to stay away from. These are the Pharisees they warned you of, the same Pharisees that shook in terror when the ground shook and the temples were broken under their feet. It's all an allegory, but it's all truth. But you got to have the eyes to see it. And none of your emotional namby-pamby, crybaby, diaper-wearing tactics of fighting the truth will save you. Please save the diapers that you are wearing, because very soon you are going to shit yourself in them. And hopefully it will be enough shit to wake you up and rise you to a high enough ground where you will be able to actually see above your own ignorance, to be able to see above the quagmire of shit that is built up around you, of your own doing, of your own creating, of your own betrayals, of your own treasonous nature against yourself and Creator. And you can put Creator into whatever form you wish. I simply know it to be self, and all as one, one as all. I am just merely accepting the responsibility of my point of you within the all mind that says enough of the bullshit, enough of the nonsense, enough of the needing to justify legal nonsense with more legal nonsense that keeps you spinning in a matrix, completely unaware of the reality of things around you. It's a very simple game. It is so simple that you will refuse to accept it. Because, geez, Kate, it can't be that easy. Well, as a matter of fact, dopey, it sure is. And that's the joke on you. I don't know about you, but a joke with a punchline typically doesn't have to go into this long diatribe of explaining the joke where the truth of the joke is self-evident. That's why they call it a punchline. And your punchline is coming up. You might not like the punchline, though, because it will probably destroy your soul. Well, it ain't yours anyway. You gave it up to the dark. You walk around with a mark of the beast called legal name and any agreement thereof. And I'm not talking pieces of paper here. I'm talking about just the ability to change your mind and realizing and seeing the legal name for what it is, the armor trap soul contract. And again, I say, if you're not interested in saving yourself, well, perhaps you might put 5 minutes thought into, your family, your friends, your children, all of those you claim to love. They're the same ones like my own family and friends that thought it was pretty cool just to claw up my back, to take from me what they could. I would have given it willingly, now I was dead. I've grown weary of those that just like climbing up others' backs to steal what they can in the physical nature. And of course, once caught, they're very quick to run away and of course cry foul. That's normal. You see, because most people on this planet cannot see the blessings because of the curse they live. If you're not living in truth, then that just makes you a Pharisee, a scribe, and you might as well call yourself a lawyer, liar, judge. So do not point fingers at others that you claim to be doing wrong, when you yourself are standing in the quagmire of pure, adulterous truth, betrayal, lechery, licentiousness, by walking around using the government-issued identification, thinking that it is you. For those of us that know it isn't, well, free and clear. And I don't care if you still have bit paper with that on it, doesn't matter. What does matter is the change of heart and the change of mind. If you can't change those, well, you're kind of screwed anyway, huh? And if you're not aware enough to understand this, well, not going to be a big loss to consciousness and reality anyway, now are you? It's entirely up to you. If but one shall awaken, and you are the one. If you can't handle the truth, well then, sorry, enjoy your last days. Excuse me. For those that worship and serve the beast at all levels, well, it's your last days too, because you will soon be non-existent in the most literal of senses. You see, like any bad thought that we would have in our mind, it's simply easy to eradicate that, never to allow that to enter your reality again. Because it most certainly is not something I would do. And I know many of you, it's something you would not do either. So the thing that I would not do, I just simply purge. And I give it back to those that would do it. And if that's what you wish, then you wish upon your others that which you have wished upon yourself, and vice versa. So enjoy the loss that you have cast, not only for my possessions, if you will, from my realities, that you so they are, that do not have a, quote, legal name, unquote, and know exactly what I say when I say that. You are sending the most potent of contracts to wherever you send them, because it is going with full force and effect of your causal nature to the degree that you can accept responsibility for self. I'm wondering how Pope Frankie will appreciate the video. I had to laugh, and I will open up the page because I just was doing a quick scan of the garbage can, also known as Before It's News bin, to see what kind of effect we're having. And lo and behold, a dear little shill man, Kevin Annette, is apparently in hiding. Well, that's what happens when you have a legal name, and I don't care if you're a shill or not. You see, because once the veil is down, which it is, you are completely vulnerable to your masters and those you serve of the dark principalities. Something we choose not to do here, and are doing our utmost to awaken humanity to that most dangerous of games that will only cost you your soul via your ignorance. So please, keep fighting the truth. Please, beat us up. Come at us with all manner of left-brain monkey chatter gibberish to defend a position from a completely programmed illusion that you have been part of since the minute you popped out of Mama's vagina. Speaking of which, of course, today is, well, what they like to deem Mother's Day, which for me it's modus operandi of God every day. I don't need a particular title or date to attest to the truth. And the simple fact is you are all mothers, modus operandi gods. And you're also operating through the divine feminine Father, which is the heart of God. Yeah, you see, they got it all backwards here. The mother is the modus operandi, or the intent masculine. The father is the heart source, negative divine feminine, which is God's source itself, feminine. So there you go. A little note there too. Apparently the pastors down in the States are really pushing this whole idea of it's okay to take the RFID chip, to take the mark of the beast. Well, what else did you expect from these used car demonic sales? You know, the proof is in the pudding, boys and girls, and these monkeys are having to really ramp up their own idiocy to fully expose themselves. And I'm sure there might be the odd Christian or two out there listening to a pastor that says it's okay to take the mark of the beast, and they might actually question it at this point. And if they don't, well, your soul's done for anyway. There's nothing I or anyone else can do for you. Such is the nature of this game. You are here to save yourself, something apparently you of the Christian stripe missed in the true teachings of what the Jesus guy that you all